Thank you all for joining. My name is Tony Fair. I'm with TripLog, and I'm going to walk you through getting started again. So all of you by now hopefully have downloaded the app and put it on your device. And by device, you can use a phone or a tablet, and it can be either Android or an iOS device. So after the initial steps of allowing permission for the app to run in the background and so forth, you have to add default vehicles as part of the setup. So your default vehicle is the one you use, or the ones you use for work. You're able to put multiple vehicles in and navigate in between each one. If you're driving a different one that day and you need to track down to the individual car, you can mark that as default, and that changes the car to the one you're driving. So it's a pretty easy step. And all you need to add a vehicle is year, make, and model, unless you want the additional information such as license plate and VIN number. Initially, all users are pushed the app with Magic Trip as an auto start option. So if it's not on now, you want to enable your auto start, and these are your auto start options, and I'll go over them really quickly and let you know what you do have choices other than Magic Trip, although Magic Trip is probably the easiest of all, well, one of the easier. Magic Trip is fully automatic tracking of trips. A user gets in their car, and once they reach a speed of 5 miles an hour, the trip tracks back to the beginning where they started. And then once they're idle for a period of 5 minutes, some default set for 3, and you can change that setting, the trip will automatically complete. You may also connect through your car's Bluetooth, syncing with it the first time, then each time thereafter, it'll work much in the same fashion as Magic Trip. Another option is a beacon device. And what beacons are is a thumbnail sized device. I'll have a picture of one here. And you can find them on our website as well for additional information. Beacon device is this thumb drive that plugs into your USB port in your car. And once installed, there are 3 easy steps for installation. You just simply walk towards your car, it'll activate your phone and the app, and you're ready to track. When you reach your destination, just walk away from your vehicle and the trip will automatically complete itself. It will also aid in performance as far as being able to detect car movement instantaneously, as well as locations, and minimize battery usage as well. So it's not a requirement, but in a good, better, best scenario would be best case. You may also utilize plug in and go, which is plug into a charging port in your car. And as long as you're tethered, the app will track your trips, disconnect the charger, and the trip will automatically complete and deactivate the app. You may also use an OBD2 scanner, which is a plug-in to the car's onboard computer. We support these 2 and these 4, but that's if you require odometer readings each time, most commonly used for company vehicles, where you need to be accountable for each mile at each startup. We don't offer those, we don't sell them. You have to go to either Best Buy or Amazon or whatever source you use for electronics to purchase those, but check with us first for compatibility before you spend money on any of them, so we can tell you if it's TripLog friendly. And there's a Wi-Fi connection available also. So in addition to those Magic Trip options, you can change the responsiveness. For example, if you have customers in a very tight radius and you need more accuracy as far as, the doors are really close, you could make it more responsive, but the app will use more battery if it's more responsive. So I would, hopefully you don't need that, but if you do, you can increase the responsiveness. Also, the speed threshold where Magic Trip will kick in, we have a default set for 5 miles an hour. That's a good in-between speed, so I would tend to leave it there. As far as the timeout, some of you will get the default setting for 3 minutes. I would change that to 5 minutes at a minimum, because 3 minutes can be a little short depending on where you live as far as traffic conditions and traffic lights. So you don't want the app timing out every time you hit a stoplight. So 5 minutes would be a better window for that. Also, for timing out, you're going to get a notice, or your phone will chime or beep and let you know that you're about to time out and your trip will automatically complete. If you don't want those because you have a lot of, kind of 1-minute warnings, you can turn that notification off. They'll also turn off the notification to alert you that you're tracking a trip too. So by turning off those notifications, you will silence those reminders. Another tip for Magic Trip users especially would be to set your work hours. So these are the hours that will default to business activities. Whatever your typical business schedule is, you can set the typical starting times as well as ending time and days of the week. The after hour activities depends on your preference. If you select do not record, the app will only work during those hours you set. And then after hours, you won't track trips. Or you can mark it personal if you want to track personal travel after business hours, or any of the other activities. If you have a second business, you can identify that or whatever the case is, but you can set the app up to only work during your scheduled times. And that will help you in categorization as well, because we give you the category default to business during those hours. We give you the from and to, starting and ending points, I should say, total miles driven for that trip. The B icon is for business, by the way. A route map showing how you got to your destination. And you're also able to edit, where you can go in if you need to change trip information, you can do it on the edit screen. You can change everything about the trip at this point from edit, and then always save when you edit. If you take a personal trip during the business day that you don't wish to count in your totals, you can just swipe and make that personal, and it won't count in your mileage total. Or tap the icon and change it off the menu list. We also give you the ability to manually stop and start the app. So you could go in, push the manual start button, or download the widget if you don't have it already. It should be there. Select either manual entry or GPS tracking. So let's cover GPS first. Select GPS. You're off and running. You're tracking your trip. When you get to your destination, you have to push the stop button or the trips will blend together. So critical that you press stop, and then you need to press save. And then that's going to create the manual trip that way. The other option for manual entry is to actually enter in the starting and ending points. So you would type in your current destination or just hit the compass if you're at the starting point. Put it in your destination, hit the query bar, the app will calculate the time and distance. You can apply from that list. And again, save. Save is critical. And then there's the manually entered trip. Depending on your version, you have the ability for professional, I believe, at least, or enterprise, you have the ability to preload an address book into your device or through the web in an import, where you name your locations instead of going by the addresses. So customer names would appear, or the name of the location, instead of the address. That would allow you to be able to search for customers by name. Once you find them, you can select it. We'll sync with the default navigation already on your device to take you to those locations without having to leave the app to enter in the coordinates on your navigation. So it's a shortcut. You may also route plan, again, depending on your version, using those address book locations where you can pick out where you're going to go for that day, put them in a queue, and then hit navigate. And then TripLog will take you to and between each one of your appointments and round trip you back to where you started with the best routing using your default navigation. So we also, depending on versions, give you the ability to capture expenses within the app. We're able to go in, select a type of transaction, category. Let's say you take someone to lunch, put in taxes, fees. You're able to take a photocopy of the receipt, save it, and then you've captured an expense. You may also enter in a parking or toll for each trip. So after a meeting or before, after you come back to your car or even before, you can put in a parking and or toll amount, hit the receipt button, and you're able to input the toll expense or parking expense as well. We also give you the ability to enter in a tag. What tags are user-defined fields that are commonly used for a business purpose. So whatever reason you have for visiting that customer, you would probably keep it down to a minimum because you'd have to scroll through if you create too many of them. But whatever purposes you have for visiting a customer, you would put there. And we also give you a field for 2,000 characters of notes to put in either about the meeting or the travel. If you need to be refreshed on something or report the results of a meeting, you can put that in there as well. And again, save. Same with fuel. If you want to capture a fuel expense, plus sign. Again, put in the purchase information, attach the receipt copy, and then after the first fill up, we'll give you miles per gallon calculations as well as the capturing the expense. So to send yourself a report of your travel for a particular period of time, you go in and select the time frame, either the month or the week, and hit the email icon here, and you'll email yourself that report. So that pretty much covers the basics. If you have multiple users, I would say greater than 5, then you would definitely consider need the enterprise version. And I didn't really touch on a lot of that functionality, but it is available. Also, if you need QuickBooks or Concur connectivity, you would need the enterprise version. So for those users, you just go to the web portal after you create the web account, and you would connect to QuickBooks by selecting the icon and hitting the connect to QuickBooks and entering in your QuickBooks credentials and allowing TripLog to import into QuickBooks. So there's a command you have to grant. And this will explain how those how the integration works as well. So again, I thank you all for your time. That will conclude today's meeting. And if you have any, also one last point, a support or technical problem or issue, our help desk is support@bizlog, bizlog.com. Again, support@bizlog.com for technical questions. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone.